Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we figure out how to build and run a SaaS. I'm Benedikt.
And I'm Brian. Each week, we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we work on our products and keep the lights on by living outdoors. Today is November 17th, and I am feeling rested.
This is episode number 66, and I'm feeling productive.
All right.
Welcome back, Brian.
Thanks, man. Thanks. It was a great week down in the Grand Canyon. I loved it.
Nice. Yeah.
So it
felt like the perfect week to just get away after the previous week.
Yeah, for sure. We were driving on Saturday, and so we heard, that the media had begun, that the networks had begun to call the election, and then we were like, all right, cool. We're Sunday morning at 4 a.m. We are walking down into the Grand Canyon for a week with no coverage whatsoever. Like, okay, great. This will be awesome. And it was, man. It was. I posted this on Twitter yesterday. Like the big takeaway for me this year, because we did a very similar trip last year. The big takeaway for me was just how quickly and how easy it is to just be completely present when, well, what are you doing today? Wake up, put your stuff in your backpack, make a little breakfast, and hike. And then set up your stuff, make a little dinner. And I mean, that's all there is to do. There's nothing else to do. And so it's just so easy to get into a rhythm and feel completely present. And I was just noticing like how completely out of sync with myself I am out here, because I think I've kind of identified a big thing. Like backpacking, there was a very clear delineation between work and rest. Like you put on your backpack and you hike the trail, you set things up, and then you're done. That's it. There's nothing else to do. And then, out here, our work just blends in everywhere you go. Like go to the grocery store, your work is on your phone. 8 p.m. at night, your laptop is there. There's an option to work. There's no delineation between work and rest. So that was the big, that's the major takeaway for me, is trying to be much better and more disciplined about that clear delineation. So it was good. It was a good time.
Yeah, sounds great. Do you have any plans on how to, get that working
do that
in the day to day?
I mean, for starters, I deleted almost I deleted email and Twitter and everything off of my phone, so that it, is hopefully just more like keeps me in contact with my friends and family. I took the New York Times app off my phone. I was always checking that, just like little things like that. And then, the much harder part is just staying completely focused on work during the work day. Like little distractions of, well, what's so-and-so up to over on Twitter, or what's going on over on Facebook or LinkedIn or whatever. Like those are the things that I realize, especially now, or, the news, just feeling distracted so much, not being able to be in just one flow. So, so, I mean, it kind of like comes down to just personal discipline and breaking those habits, which are very, very deeply ingrained, Do you struggle with that? Like in the middle of the day, just like pop over to the news or pop over to social media, or are you pretty good about getting into code and just staying focused?
When I'm in flow, like when I'm really deep into code, I tend to forget about everything. And I usually can tell that it's been a good day when in the evening or so, if I open Twitter and it's like 300, 400 unread tweets, then I know this was a good day. If it's like 5, then it probably wasn't a good day.
Yeah.
But I don't I don't really feel guilty about checking Twitter or so during the workday, because usually I just do it when I need a break, or I'm not in the mindset to do anything like super hard or super productive. That's usually when I take a break on Twitter. It's I mean, in a way you could argue, I'm not doing work during that time, but I'm not entirely sure if I'd be super productive in those moments anyway. So I don't feel super guilty about it. What I realized what helped me was with the new iOS version. There's now this app library thing where you can, like, instead of having apps on your phone's home screen or one of the screens, like, you can delete it from there, but it's still installed, but you have to basically search for it. I realized that helped a lot. Like, for example, I basically removed Facebook from my easy accessible location. And now I'm basically not checking it anymore. Like, if I absolutely need to, because my girlfriend, like, she's super active on Facebook still. So sometimes she tells me, hey, I tagged you somewhere. What do you think about this? And then I still can go in there and check it. But usually when I open it, it's like 20 unread notifications and stuff like that. So the frequency has gone way down, which is kind of nice.
Gotcha. Yeah, it feels, I don't know. It has felt completely different over the past couple of years, because it just seems like it doesn't seem like there is so much going on. That it just feels important to stay up to date. And I was just realizing I don't need to catch every single headline. It's not irresponsible or, to check out from time to time. So
especially when the news are like these days, where it's basically the same thing every day.
Yeah, for sure.
It's either something election related or something COVID related.
Yeah.
Nothing else is happening.
Yeah, that's true. I think the other thing I was thinking through and realizing was how the other thing I think the other reason I'm having such a hard time staying focused and ignoring distractions, that I just know there are distractions. It's not even that interesting. Is still just is not having a super clear purpose, or like a very clearly defined task with an outcome and a goal. And so, there's certainly been like peaks and, fits and starts with the different projects that I've been working on, over the last year and some weeks that we've been doing this. And and it's just staying focused after the initial, sprint, or after the initial like obvious bit of work has been done, that I feel like if I could, continue to, I don't know, if I could just find traction in the right spot, or find a thing that does resonate, then, staying feeling purpose in it, and feeling a clear motivation, clear goal in it, is really helpful. And that's been, totally absent for a while now, which is exhausting.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's me, man. What's going on with you?
Yeah. I took last week off, like from the podcast, at least, not from work, but in the end, I decided to just skip it.
I got out of the wilderness, had a really, really difficult hike from like basically the middle of the Grand Canyon all the way out with 50 pounds on my back, and was like, well, I finally got cell coverage. I can download an episode of Slow and Steady and see what my buddy Benedikt has been up to, and there wasn't even anything there.
Sorry.
No, I'm joking. I didn't check it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, good. Just decided to take a week off. That's probably good.
Yeah. I wasn't able to come up with a good idea on like what to do or who to invite, so I decided to not stress about it and just skip it. So I'm sorry, listeners, for having to not listen to us one week. But instead, I did some work, which is nice as well. So
that is good. Work is good.
Yeah, I think the big revelation that happened sometime last week, or probably sometime last week, was we need to ship more, like, and just be more scrappy. And basically, the title of our new podcast, like, better done than perfect, it's kind of our new mantra. Or we're trying to make it our new mantra, because we basically, both Jane and I are perfectionists in a way, and it doesn't, like, we obsess over details, and that's sometimes it isn't healthy, and it's not helping us move forward and move fast. So early last week, I think it was on Monday, I decided to just ship the company's feature behind the feature flag and enable it for a couple of customers who asked for it. It's like, back then it was super scrappy and barely usable. It still is super scrappy. It improved a little bit, but it was a good feeling to just get it into hands of a couple of customers and have them use it, and also get excited about it, and just launch it earlier. It's still far from what we have in mind. Like, we want to do so much with this, but if we wait until we have everything we want to do in there, it's just going to take forever.
Yep.
And this way we can at least get get feedback faster, and use it like in a real world scenario. And that's been really nice. Just getting over our own sense of this has to be super polished and super nice and super cool, and just getting it out there was a good idea. Since then, we made a few iterations and like worked on things that were missing, and basically launching stuff in smaller chunks, or not even launching, like just deploying it in smaller chunks and have people use it. And that's been, it's a nice transformation of just like getting into a shipping groove again.
A groove. Do you think it would be would it be easier for you to kind of get over that perfectionism hump if you were releasing a product that was completely outside of your social circles? Like, is there some reputation stuff at stake because you know that the people who are listening or hearing about user list are also in your?
I don't think that's the problem. I think
it's just inherent. It's just in your nature.
Yeah, anyone using this should be using the best version possible of this, which is kind of not. It's never going to happen. Like, there's always something. And I mean, at some point we are launching stuff. It's not like that we keep tweaking forever, but
maybe tweaking.
I think it became obvious that we just have to do this much earlier and like be okay with the design not being perfect. And like, there's so many things, like some spacing is wrong in the UI, and there are features missing, and some stuff just doesn't work. Stuff like that. It's just launching it this way, or just like getting it out there this way, is already helping. And that kind of also helped with my spirits in a way. Like, before I felt like I'm not moving fast enough, and now it's more like, hey, look what I launched this week, or look what I finished this week. And by just tackling like smaller chunks and releasing smaller chunks, it's easier to see progress. It doesn't really, if I'm honest with myself, it's not that different to what it was before, but at least when that part is done, it's out there and people are using it, and providing feedback and maybe asking for changes that I didn't think about and stuff like that. So that the feedback loop is faster than it was before. And that, I think like feedback loops are just helping with motivation. And even if it's criticism, it's the feedback that you can work with.
Yeah, it's something. Yeah, I definitely feel like there's compound interest in momentum. Like once you, I mean, that's what James Clear talks about, like with streaks. Like once you get something going in a direction, then it multiplies. I think the same is true for overthinking or sitting still. Like I feel like it's been a huge struggle for me over the past, second half of this year is the opposite of, once you get something moving in a direction, it just builds on its own momentum. I'm feeling like the longer I stay stuck in a place, the harder it is to get out of it. So, dude, I think you're right on, and congrats. That's awesome. Keep it going. Because like you say, even if it's tiny, and even if you kind of know it's tiny,
it's still progress.
It's progress. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that happened. I kind of attribute this to one of our concierge setup customers who they're basically just being blunt about, hey, this like, if we want to do this right, then we should probably do it like by grouping people into companies or teams or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. We should probably just do it that way. And that was like, okay, yeah, we have some part of this world. It's not perfect, and there's the automation stuff and all of that is missing. But you can already send the data in there, and we can already show you like these are your teams, and that's like when their trial is going to end and stuff like that. So it said, ship that. The other part that was triggered by another concierge setup customer was that we now have a Laravel package. It's also super scrappy, and honestly, it's crap, but it's out there. It's working for this particular customer. My suspicion is that it's also working for others if they'd use it. But I mean, at least some code is out there, and it's making the integration in Laravel projects easier than it was before. Right now, we're considering to hire someone, like get a consultant or a freelancer to continue working on it, because there are no tests in there. There's still, a bunch of features missing that I'd like to see in there and stuff like that. But I realized that if I implement all of that, it would probably take me way longer than someone who's familiar with the ecosystem and the patterns and just like knows his way or their way around it. That would be much better and faster. So we're currently on the hunt for someone to help out with that. Not entirely sure how much money we want to spend on it, but I feel like if it saves me time and stops me from having to learn like a new programming language, a new framework, it's probably a good idea.
But yeah, especially if somebody who is completely familiar with Laravel, knows the ecosystem, and gets the 90-something% right first, then it just makes it easier for you to maintain. Or maybe they're relatively affordable to maintain in the future. But so exactly. When you say like it's out there and it's working for this customer, but it's kind of crap, you mean it's not fully featured and it doesn't have test coverage, but what it's doing, it's working.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. For this particular, this narrow use case, it's working. Yeah.
It's a start. It is.
Yeah, it's definitely a start. It's cool. But it's far from perfect, but progress. I've been thinking about this for forever, basically, and so we're also using, as I said, like using this as an experiment to just like hire some development help, because it sounds like writing those libraries is like a good place to start experimenting with just hiring developers, because it's like small, self-contained, and
totally.
If it doesn't work out with one, we can always move it to someone else. It doesn't like if it doesn't work, then nothing inside the application breaks.
Exactly.
Just nobody using the library. So it sounds like a perfect starting point to get some hiring experience. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we'll see how that works out. On the pricing side, I think, the week before you left, we launched a new pricing. And I think I mentioned it in the last episode.
Yeah.
We have since gotten like 3 trials.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
one of them canceled. One of them canceled right away. So it's actually 2. One of them is one of the concierge setup customers, and the other one is actually a legitimate trial, and they're really testing the product right now. Luckily, they're even sending support requests and like replying to my questions and stuff like that. So, I mean, not entirely sure if they will convert, but at least they're really evaluating the tool, and hopefully I can convince them that there's some exciting stuff on the horizon.
Still, though, I mean, two trials over, what is that, like 17 days now?
Yeah.
Is that
right? It's way down, and I'm not entirely sure if it's a good thing or not. It's probably not a good thing, but I mean, the price doubled, so if they convert,
the price doubled, but you were saying before though that y'all would get, what were you saying, like between 5 and 10 trials per week, which is like 1 or 2 per day?
Yeah, something like that. Like, let's say 5 per week or so.
Okay,
maybe not even that. Maybe a little less. Maybe 10 to 20 per month, something like that. Yeah, it's way down. It's way down.
It's down by more than half, and so doubling the price is not like it's your.
Yeah, with that logic, I'd agree, but maybe the conversion rate will be better. I don't know. I mean, it's still super low, and we should get more. Well, we decided to stick with the current pricing until the end of the month and just like see what's happening.
Yeah.
And then maybe consider lowering prices again or whatever. All in all, it basically has us wondering, like, maybe we don't have product, like, it's obvious we don't have product market fit. I never said we had product market fit, but maybe it's worse than we thought it is. Now, we're
at a deep level.
Yeah.
Is there something else that is just completely off here?
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of surprising that now people don't even start a trial anymore. Like, there must be something off, and like the value that we present on the website probably doesn't look good enough for them to even consider starting a trial at the current price, even if they don't convert. Like, they're not forced to convert at the end of the trial, I guess. So, but that got us thinking, and we're kind of clueless on what the problem is exactly.
What about, all those other the advertising experiments and the things that you all were doing based off of Asia's work? Has anything come out of that where like one particular positioning statement or one particular landing page or value prop has resonated more than others? Any big insights out of that?
From the advertising campaigns, at least the Google ad campaigns didn't really work well. Our suspicion is that the keywords were just wrong, and maybe just asking for the sign up right away wasn't a good idea. So we are still planning to do some more experiments on that. Like, for one, like just changing the keywords and maybe trying to figure out what's closer to buying intent or people looking for this particular solution. There's a chance that we might have just gotten the keywords totally wrong and they were looking for something entirely different. And then we are also considering to do some more experiments with, instead of asking for the sign up, ask them for a mailing list sign up and maybe trading it for a lead magnet or something like that.
Yeah.
That's still on the roadmap. Jane has been on vacation for the last 2 weeks, so the marketing side didn't really move forward. But yeah, she's back since yesterday, so hopefully seeing some progress on there soon.
Yeah. It's a roller coaster, man.
Yeah. It really is a roller coaster. I had some days like shipping stuff felt great. The improvements felt great, but then I think it was last week on Friday or so, or I don't remember the date. Like someone sent a huge broadcast to a bunch of people, and it took forever to process in our background queue. And that was one of the days where I was like, why? I need a break. I don't want to deal with any of this anymore. I was able to fix it. It was a super stupid thing where we accidentally did like DNS lookups for all the outgoing domains, like for all email addresses, which took forever in some cases. So now we're just validating on the format of the email address and not actually looking up if there's a mail server behind it. And hopefully that will fix sending speed. But it's like recently it's like just an up and down of yay and oh no, why is nothing working? And of course, like the low number of trials and just thinking about if maybe something bigger needs to change potentially. That part isn't really helping with like keeping the high spirits. Yeah.
Finding how to keep that motivation going, the momentum going is it can be hard. Totally.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, anything else on your side?
No, I think that's it from the user list side. There is an exciting thing happening in the SaaS podcast world. There is basically there's an award presented by the MicroConf folks. They launched the SaaS Podcast Awards, and I think they're open for nominations. And if you're listening and like the show, we'd really appreciate if you'd nominate Slow and Steady as a contestant in one of the categories.
They are definitely taking nominations. Let's see, there are four categories: Best SaaS Podcast. So you would want to nominate Slow and Steady. Best Host, you would want to nominate Benedikt. Best Episode,
and Brian Ray, of course.
Best Episode. I think I kind of liked the jokes episode. In the middle of all that garbage, it was just like, let's just take some time aside. And best founder story. I guess we don't really have like a single thread on that. So anyway,
you can nominate someone else for best founder story.
Totally. So anyway, folks, if you're listening, go to SaaSPodcastAwards.com. And we'd be super, super grateful for a nomination. They're open until November the 25th. And then it looks like voting will start on December the 1st after they collect some nominations. So super honored just to even be considered alongside.
For sure.
Alongside the heavy hitters that we kind of expect to win anyway. But that's really, really fun. Super cool of Rob and the gang over there at MicroConf to do this. It'll be a fun way to round out the year. So.
Yeah, for sure. And it will be exciting. I have hopes that it will be an opportunity to discover some new shows that I didn't know about. So, exciting. Cool. Okay. Anything else this week?
Real quick, I think I mentioned, like the contract with, a large company in headlamps industry, that's going through. So that's like a really great win for me on the consulting side, and hopefully, we'll build up some momentum. That'll be great. So that's getting started this week, and that's what's happening for me. Yeah, all good here.
Cool. Then, I'm looking forward to see some progress on that front. Until next week.
All right. Talk to you next week.
Talk to you then. Bye.
Later.